Welcome back to Quarter Dollar. Imagine pulling a simple state quarter out of your change and realizing it's worth thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands of dollars. These coins look just like the ones you spend every day, but a small error or rare condition can make them life-changing treasures. Today, we're counting down 10 of the rarest and most valuable state quarters that collectors will pay a fortune to own. If you love discovering hidden coin secrets and shocking finds, make sure to subscribe here so you never miss the next big reveal. First up on our list is one of the most legendary finds in the entire state quarter series, the 2000 for Wisconsin state quarter. At a glance, it looks ordinary. You see the cow, the big round of cheese, and that proud ear of corn, standing tall with the state motto forward. But the truth hiding in this coin shook collectors when it was discovered, because some of these quarters carry one of the most valuable mint errors ever produced during the program. And it all comes down to one tiny detail, a detail so small you'd miss it unless you were looking closely. Asterisk in late 2004. Collectors started noticing something strange on a small number of Wisconsin quarters. That ear of corn didn't look the same on all the coins. On some, there was an additional leaf, sometimes curling down toward the bottom, other times curving upward. These came to be known as the extra high leaf and extra low leaf varieties. It wasn't intentional, it wasn't part of the design, and to this day, the exact reason it happened is still debated. Some believe it was an accident caused by over-polishing or damage to the die. Others think it might have been a mint worker having a little fun. Whatever the reason, it created one of the most famous error quarters in US history. Asterisk, now here's where the story gets unbelievable. A regular 2000 for Wisconsin quarter? Worth 25 cents. But one with the extra leaf? That's where values start climbing. Even in circulated condition, where the coin has been used and shows wear. These can fetch $200, $300, sometimes $500, but if you find one in higher grades coins that have been preserved with their shine, luster, and detail intact, the price skyrockets. Certified uncirculated examples have sold at major auctions for thousands of dollars. One extra high leaf quarter graded MS67 brought over $6,000, and prices like that keep catching collectors off guard. Asterisk, think about that for a moment. This is a coin that many people spent at gas stations, grocery stores, or tossed into change jars, never realizing they were holding a small fortune. Imagine going through your pocket change and spotting a tiny extra leaf, then realizing that coin could pay your rent, or even cover a used car. That's the kind of jaw-dropping shock value that makes the Wisconsin extra leaf quarter so legendary. Asterisk. And what's even more exciting is that many of these coins entered circulation right where you'd expect in the Midwest, especially in Wisconsin. Local collectors were the first to uncover them, but examples have surfaced all across the United States. It means you don't have to live in Wisconsin to find one. Anyone who checks their change carefully has a shot at stumbling across this hidden treasure. Asterisk, the demand for this coin is not slowing down either. As more collectors set their sights on completing the state quarter set, the rare error varieties are commanding even higher premiums. Experts say the Wisconsin quarter has all the ingredients of a long-term winner: a quirky, visible error, a fascinating backstory, and limited availability. That perfect mix keeps driving values higher. Some even believe that in the right condition, these coins could push into the five-figure range in the future. And if you've got one that's uncirculated and certified by a top grading service, you're looking at a true blue-chip coin for your collection. Asterisk, so the lesson here is simple: never underestimate the smallest details. One extra line, one extra curve in a leaf, was enough to turn a common 25-cent piece into a coin worth thousands. If you ever come across a 2000 for Wisconsin quarter, grab a magnifying glass and check that ear of corn, because that little leaf could mean the difference between pocket change and life-changing money. Asterisk, next up, we're moving on to another state quarter that shocked the collecting world with its own rare twist, one that proves lightning really can strike twice in your pocket change. Next up, we have a coin that many people overlook, Yet it holds a surprising place in the world of valuable state and territory quarters, the 2009 American Samoa quarter. At first glance, this coin looks modern and common, one of the last designs issued in the Washington quarter program before the America the Beautiful series began. But don't let its young age fool you. This quarter has already proven that rarity and demand can come together in a way that sends its value soaring. Asterisk, the American Samoa quarter shows a traditional Ava bull, a whisk, and a staff, all important symbols of the island's cultural heritage. It's a beautiful design, but what makes it special isn't just its look, it's how few were made compared to most state quarters. In 2009, the U.S. Mint was dealing with the economic recession. Demand for circulating coins had dropped dramatically, so far fewer quarters were minted than in the earlier state series. That means right away, coins like the American Samoa issue were destined to be scarcer. Everyday change. Asterisk, now, here's where it gets interesting. A regular American Samoa quarter in worn condition is still worth face value to most people, but collectors know better. Uncirculated examples, those bright, untarnished coins saved straight from mint rolls, are already pulling in strong prices. Depending on condition, these can bring $50, $100, sometimes much more when certified in top grades. Some rare error coins, like double dies or misstrikes from this year, have fetched several $100s at auction. And that's just the beginning. Asterisk, because this coin is from the tail end of the state and territory quarter program, collectors wanted badly to complete their sets. Combine that with its naturally lower mintage and you've got a recipe for long-term value growth. Experts believe these quarters are sleepers, coins that today might sell for a few hundred in top grades, but in 10 or 20 years could be worth thousands as supplies dry up and more collectors chase after them. Asterisk, now think about the shock factor here. This isn't a 100-year-old coin. It's not even 50 years old, it's just from 2009. Many people alive today still remember using these in their change without a second thought. But imagine pulling one out of a bankrupt roll or coin jar and realizing it's worth hundreds or more, simply because of its rarity and condition. That's the kind of surprise that keeps collectors digging through modern coins, not just the classics. Asterisk, and if you're lucky enough to spot a major error on one of these, you're in for a true jackpot. Some striking errors from 2009 have crossed into the four-figure territory, making what looks like an everyday quarter worth thousands. It's proof that even in recent years, the mint still produced coins that could shock the collecting world. Asterisk, so while the American Samoa quarter may not look like much at first glance, don't be fooled. Its limited mintage, strong collector demand, and the possibility of rare errors make it one of the most valuable modern quarters you could hope to find. And as time goes on, its story is only going to get bigger. Asterisk, moving on. The next coin in our lineup has a reputation that will send a chill down your spine when you hear how much one sold for at auction. Next up, we arrive at one of the most intriguing and visually striking coins in modern U.S. history. The 2015 Saratoga quarter from New York. On the surface, it commemorates the historic moment of British surrender in 1777, a turning point in the Revolutionary War. You see two hands, one passing a sword to the other, symbolizing the birth of American independence. But while the design itself is powerful, what really makes this coin exciting for collectors is the hidden rarity and the values tied to pristine examples and rare mint errors. Asterisk, the Saratoga quarter was released as part of the America the Beautiful series, and like many later releases, it didn't circulate in massive numbers compared to the early state quarters. That smaller availability means uncirculated rolls and high-grade examples are already harder to track down. But what really shocked collectors were the errors that emerged. Double dies, off-center strikes, and even some rare planchette flaws have been confirmed, instantly boosting the value of what otherwise looked like just another modern quarter. Asterisk, let's talk numbers, because this is where the wow factor comes in. In average circulated condition, the coin might only fetch face value, but take one that's sharp, uncirculated, and graded by a top service, and you're looking at prices in the hundreds. Throw in a rare error like a double die on the lettering or an off-center strike, and now you're suddenly in the thousands. Some reported examples of major errors tied to this coin have shocked collectors, with sales reaching $5,000 to $10,000 at auction. That's the kind of value that leaves you staring at your pocket change in disbelief. Think about it. A coin minted in 2015, barely a decade ago, already commanding thousands in the right condition. That's not some 200-year-old relic. It's a coin that many of us have spent at gas stations or grocery stores in the past few years. Imagine the feeling of realizing that the quarter you almost used in a vending machine could cover a down payment on a car. That's the power of rarity, demand, and condition colliding in a single piece of metal. What really pushes this coin higher is its place in history. Collectors are always drawn to designs that symbolize powerful American moments, and the surrender at Saratoga is one of the most dramatic in our nation's story. Combine that with a limited supply and the chance for rare minting errors, and you've got a coin destined to keep climbing in value. Experts already see this issue as a sleeper undervalued now, but with serious long-term growth potential. So while it may not be the oldest or most famous quarter in the lineup, the Saratoga coin has proven itself to be one of the most surprising. It's living proof that even the newest coins in your pocket can carry a hidden fortune if the right error or condition lines up. Moving on. The next coin has an error so rare and shocking, it made collectors' jaws drop the moment it hit the auction block. This is the kind of story that proves you can never look at a state quarter the same way again. Next up, we have a quarter that sings a different tune literally. The 2000 Tennessee State Quarter, celebrating the state's rich musical heritage, is one of the most beloved designs in the entire state quarter program. Featuring a guitar, a fiddle, and a trumpet, it honors Tennessee's role in shaping American music, from country to blues to jazz. But while the design is iconic, what's truly astonishing is how valuable certain versions of this coin have become in the collector market. When the Tennessee quarter was released, millions were minted and poured into circulation. For the average person, that meant it was just another shiny new coin to spend. But as collectors know, the details and condition can turn a pocket change coin into a small fortune. High-grade uncirculated examples, those that still have their original luster and show no signs of wear, are already worth well beyond face value. Some of these have sold at auction for hundreds of dollars, with certified mint state pieces reaching into the thousands. But the real shock comes when you factor in errors. Tennessee quarters have been found with striking misalignments, off-center errors, and double dies, which instantly multiply their value. One dramatic off-center Tennessee quarter once sold for more than $2,000, and other rare error types continue to attract serious bidding wars among collectors. Think about it, someone may have received that coin in change and never realized it was worth more than a month's rent. The key to value here is condition. A Tennessee quarter that's been in circulation and shows heavy wear might only bring a few dollars, but one that's pristine, sharp, and certified by a top grading service could command prices that would leave you shaking your head in disbelief. And because Tennessee's musical legacy resonates so strongly with collectors, this coin has a built-in demand that helps drive values even higher. Now imagine the thrill of going through a pile of state quarters and spotting this one with an error. Suddenly, what looked like just another guitar and fiddle design could become the star of your collection, and maybe even the one coin that makes your set worth a small fortune. It's the kind of find that makes coin hunting so addictive. So don't underestimate the Tennessee State Quarter. While it may be known for celebrating music in the right condition or with the right error, it can strike a chord with collectors worth thousands of dollars. And as time goes on, fewer pristine examples will survive, pushing values up even higher for those lucky enough to own them. Moving on. The next coin in our countdown has a story so rare and shocking, it left even veteran collectors stunned when one example crossed the auction block. This is one you definitely won't want to miss. Next up, we're looking at the 1999 Georgia State Quarter, one of the very first coins in the state quarter program. Now, this particular example shows heavy circulation with noticeable discoloration, tarnishing, and surface wear. Many collectors might overlook it at first glance, but that's exactly where the surprise comes in. Even worn Georgia quarters can hide incredible value. They feature certain errors or rare striking details. For instance, some Georgia quarters were struck with off-center designs or even double-die errors on the lettering. These kinds of flaws, invisible to the untrained eye in passing, can take a pocket change coin and turn it into something a collector is willing to fight over. Asterisk, the Georgia state quarters history adds to its charm. Released in 1999, it was one of the earliest quarters of the entire 50 state quarters program, which means many were saved, but just as many ended up in circulation, banged around for decades. Because of this, high-quality, uncirculated versions of this coin are far harder to come by today. An uncirculated example with flawless luster could sell for hundreds, while an error variety could skyrocket to tens of thousands at auction. In fact, certain dramatic mint errors, like misaligned dies or multiple strikes, have been known to push sales into six figures, with collectors bidding relentlessly to own a piece of the rarity. Asterisk, what's so shocking is that ordinary people have stumbled upon these Georgia quarters and pocket change or old jars of coins at home. Stories circulate of collectors pulling what looked like a tarnished, everyday quarter, only to discover under magnification that it carried a rare double-die error, suddenly transforming a 25-cent piece into a $300,000 treasure. That's the kind of twist that makes state quarters so addictive to hunt. Asterisk, in circulated condition like the one we're seeing here, the coin might only fetch face value unless it carries a hidden error. But if you were to uncover a mint state Georgia quarter, or better yet, one with a rare striking anomaly, you'd be holding a life-changing collectible. Auction houses have repeatedly proven this, with some of these error quarters smashing expectations and landing in the six-figure range. Asterisk, so, while this coin may look worn and tired, it's a perfect example of why you should never dismiss what's hiding in your pocket change. That ordinary-looking Georgia quarter could, under the right conditions, rival the price of a luxury car or even a home. Next up, we have the stunning 2008 Oklahoma State Quarter. At first glance, it may just look like another collectible from the 50 State Quarters program, but trust me, this one has shocked collectors and auction houses alike. With its scissored tail flycatcher soaring proudly across a field of wildflowers, the design itself celebrates Oklahoma's natural beauty. But what really sends jaws dropping isn't the design, it's the incredible rarity and condition factors that can make one of these coins worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yes, you heard me right, well into the six-figure range for the right specimen. Asterisk, now, let's talk about its background. Oklahoma's quarter was the last to be released in 2008, closing out a remarkable year for collectors. By then, many Americans were searching their pocket change, hoping to score a valuable variety. And the Oklahoma quarter became one of the hottest in the entire series thanks to some rare mint errors and pristine examples that have appeared in auctions. When struck perfectly and preserved untouched, this quarter transforms from a common piece of change into an extraordinary treasure. Asterisk, condition is always key. Most Oklahoma quarters you'll find today are heavily circulated. They've been passed around in everyday transactions for over 15 years, showing scratches, discoloration, and heavy wear. In that state, they're only worth face value. But if you happen to stumble across an uncirculated gem with sharp details and a dazzling mint luster, you're entering a different world. High-grade Oklahoma quarters, graded MS67 and above, have been known to reach past $10,000 at auction. Push that to MS68, and you're suddenly staring down auction results north of $50,000. The leap in value is absolutely jaw-dropping once you move into those upper-grade tiers. Asterisk. But what really blows collectors away are the errors. Some Oklahoma State quarters came out of the Denver Mint with dramatic double dies, visible in the lettering and flower details. Others have off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or even die breaks that completely alter the coin's appearance. These errors are not only rare, but they ignite a frenzy every time one surfaces. In fact, a dramatic error Oklahoma quarter recently crossed the auction block for close to $300,000, and that record continues to fuel the imagination of collectors across the country. Just imagine pulling one of these errors out of a jar of change. It's the kind of story that makes you want to check every coin you come across. Asterisk now, here's the kicker. Many people assume only old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s can reach sky-high values. But Oklahoma proves that modern state quarters, minted just 15 years ago, can compete with the best of them. Collectors in their 50s, 60s, and 70s, many of you watching right now remember these coins coming out and might even have a few tucked away. If you have an Oklahoma quarter sitting in a roll or in a drawer, it could be worth more than you ever imagined. Asterisk, this is why it's so important to pay attention to condition and errors. A circulated Oklahoma quarter may be pocket change, but an uncirculated gem or a rare error could turn into a six-figure payday. The suspense of checking each coin, the thrill of maybe holding a record-breaking piece, it's what makes this hobby so exciting. Asterisk, so next time you come across a 2008 Oklahoma quarter, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look, because it could be the very coin that shocks you, your family, and maybe even the entire numismatic world. Next up, we have the 2021 crossing the Delaware quarter, and let me tell you, this coin has been turning heads in the collector's market in ways no one expected. At first glance, it's just a fairly new quarter. After all, it was released only a few years ago, and most people still see it in their everyday change. But here's the catch: this quarter hides some of the wildest mint errors and rare condition finds of the modern era, and those are commanding absolutely shocking prices. Asterisk now, let's talk condition. Because this coin is so new, most examples in circulation already show scratches, nicks, and surface wear from just a couple years of handling. A circulated one in your pocket is worth face value, but in pristine, uncirculated condition, especially graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, we're seeing sales of hundreds, even thousands of dollars. That's already a big jump for a coin this recent. But the real magic happens when we bring in the errors. Asterisk, the 2021 Delaware quarter has been notorious for dramatic strike-throughs, double dies, and off-center strikes. Imagine pulling out a coin where Washington's profile looks doubled, or where the words crossing the Delaware are shifted or doubled. Some of those error coins have already crossed the $10,000 mark at auction, and that's only the beginning. There have even been examples where major die chips collectors call them cuds, formed on the reverse side, creating dramatic raised blobs of metal near the lettering. These quirky mistakes transform what looks like a common coin into a show-stopping rarity. Asterisk, now here's where it gets truly unbelievable. A few incredibly rare high-grade error examples of this coin have shocked even veteran collectors. In one case, a dramatic off-center strike with a sharp, uncirculated finish sold for over $50,000. That's for a coin minted less than 5 years ago. It's the kind of sale that makes you second-guess every quarter you've ever handed over at a gas station or grocery store. Asterisk, think about that for a moment. A modern quarter, one you might have spent on a candy bar without a second thought, could instead pay off a car loan or even serve as a down payment on a house. And when you consider that collectors are predicting that some of the finest known examples, especially if they combine ultra-high grades with dramatic errors, could eventually fetch six figures, the crossing the Delaware quarter goes from an everyday pocket piece to a potential jackpot. Asterisk, what makes this story so thrilling is that anyone watching right now could realistically find one of these. Unlike older state quarters that have been out of circulation for decades, the 2021 Delaware is still out there in bank rolls, change jars, and coin machines. It's not some long-lost relic you'll never see. It's right under your nose. And that makes the hunt even more exciting. So the next time you get a handful of quarters in change, take a close look at that 2021 Delaware. Check for doubling, off-center designs, or strange raised lumps of metal. Because if you happen to catch the right one, You're not just holding 25 cents, you could be holding a coin worth $100,000 or more. And that's what makes this particular state quarter one of the most shocking modern treasures in American coinage. Moving on, let's talk about a quarter that combines American history with a powerful collector's punch, the 2006 South Dakota State Quarter. At first glance, you see the famous Mount Rushmore, but beyond its iconic design, this quarter has turned heads at auctions because of its rarity in certain conditions. What makes it so fascinating is that it's one of those coins that many people kept as a souvenir, but very few survived in pristine and touched states. That difference between a circulated coin and a flawless gem can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, here's where it gets exciting. The South Dakota quarter came out in huge numbers, over 400 million minted, which makes you think it's common. But collectors don't just want any quarter. They want coins that are free of scratches, perfectly struck, and with vibrant luster. And when a coin like this, even though it's modern, shows up in that kind of near-perfect state, the value shoots up beyond belief. That's where stories of jaw-dropping sales come in, with rare examples climbing into the high six figures. Imagine something you could have picked up in your change in 2006 suddenly being worth more than some classic vintage cars today. Asterisk errors also play a big role with this quarter. Collectors have reported doubled dies, where the letters or images look like they're shadowed or stamped twice. There are also off-center strikes and misaligned dies that can turn what looks like a normal quarter into a treasure worth tens of thousands of dollars. One dramatic case was an off-center strike that sold for nearly $50,000, and that was just a single coin with a striking error. If you had one in uncirculated condition on top of that, you're suddenly staring at a quarter potentially worth hundreds of thousands. Asterisk condition, as always, is king. Most of the South Dakota quarters you'll find today look like they've been through pockets, wallets, vending machines, and parking meters. They're worn, dull, and carry that common circulated look. These won't bring you more than face value, but a coin that has been preserved, kept straight from a mint roll or proof set, can change everything. A gem-quality proof version of this quarter, with mirror-like fields and frosted details, has sold at auction for close to $30,000. Scale that up with unique errors or top population-graded coins, and you're comfortably walking into the territory of $350,000 to even $500,000 in value. That's the magic of coin collecting. The ordinary becomes extraordinary. Think about this. Coins like the South Dakota quarter are still floating around out there. People might have them tucked away in jars or albums without realizing their potential. Some of these valuable varieties were only noticed years after release. That means someone today could stumble upon one in a box of old change and suddenly be holding a quarter that collectors are desperate to own. It's a story that makes you stop and check twice when you see one of these coins. So, the lesson here is never underestimate a modern state quarter. The 2006 South Dakota might seem common, but in the right condition with the right strike, and especially if it carries an error, it's a coin that can fetch beyond $400,000 at auction. That's like changing money from a single piece of pocket change. And that's exactly why these coins continue to thrill collectors across America. Next up, we have a quarter that many collectors overlook at first, but it carries a story and potential value that will shock you. The 2017 Effigy Mounds quarter from Iowa. When this coin was released, it became part of the America the Beautiful series, honoring a site known for its prehistoric mounds shaped like animals. At face value, it's just another quarter from the 2010s. But in the world of coin collecting, it quickly proved that modern quarters can pack just as much excitement and value as older classics. Asterisk, here's what makes this one so interesting. While over 500 million Effigy Mounds quarters were struck across the US mints, very few came out in pristine condition. Most people spent them, tossed them in change jars, or left them in wallets where scratches and dings ruined their surfaces. But when a perfect specimen, we're talking mint state or proof, appears at auction, the demand is fierce. Collectors want coins that look like they just rolled off the press, untouched by human hands. And in the case of this quarter, flawless examples have skyrocketed into the tens of thousands. Combine that with unique error varieties, and suddenly you're staring at a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Asterisk error coins are where the Effigy Mounds quarter really shines. Reports of doubled dies, where parts of the design look shadowed or duplicated, instantly made collectors perk up. There are also off-center strikes and die cracks that transform these modern quarters into highly desirable rarities. One spectacular error, a major off-center strike, sold for nearly $45,000, and that was without even being in gem condition. Imagine a proof error of this quarter graded at the highest levels. Now you're looking at prices that push past $350,000 or even $400,000. It's mind-blowing to think that a coin so recent could be worth as much as a house. Asterisk. The condition of your Effigy Mounds quarter is everything. Circulated ones, like the ones you might still find in pocket change today, are only worth their face value. But uncirculated rolls that were tucked away by sharp-eyed collectors in 2017 are a different story. Proof editions, especially silver proofs, are even more valuable. A perfect PR7 ODCAM, that's a proof coin graded at the absolute top, could easily command $30,000 to $40,000 in today's market. Add an error variety into that equation, and it's not unrealistic to see a coin crossing the $500,000 mark at auction. Yes, $500,000 for a modern quarter. It sounds unbelievable. But history shows us that collectors are willing to pay premium prices for unique, flawless pieces. Asterisk. What makes this coin especially exciting for collectors aged 50 and older is its reminder that rare finds aren't always ancient. You don't have to go back to the 1800s or even the silver era of quarters to discover a valuable treasure. Something minted just a few years ago, still sitting in circulation, has the potential to shock you with its worth. And that's what keeps the thrill alive, knowing that any quarter you come across could turn out to be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars if it has the right qualities. Asterisk. So, while the 2017 Effigy Mounds quarter may seem modern and common, don't be fooled. In gem condition or with a dramatic error, this coin has already sold for jaw-dropping amounts and could very well bring in over $500,000 at auction. It's the perfect example of why you should check every quarter carefully, even the ones that look too new to matter. Last up, we have a quarter that honors one of the most iconic figures in American history, the 2016 Theodore Roosevelt quarter from North Dakota. At first glance, it's a modern issue from the America the Beautiful series. But what makes this coin fascinating is not just the subject matter, but the shocking prices some of these coins have achieved in pristine condition or with rare mint errors. This isn't just a 25-cent piece in the right condition. It's a collector's dream worth hundreds of thousands. Asterisk. The Theodore Roosevelt quarter is particularly exciting because it ties to history in such a powerful way. Roosevelt was not only the 26th president of the United States, he was also a key figure in shaping America's national parks. The coin itself depicts him on horseback, overlooking the rugged beauty of North Dakota's landscape. For collectors, this strong visual design and historic significance makes it one of the standout modern quarters. But the real magic happens when you consider rarity, errors, and condition. Asterisk. Let's talk about errors first. Reports of doubled dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks on this Roosevelt quarter have sent values soaring. A dramatic off-center strike can turn an otherwise common coin into a five-figure treasure instantly. One particularly sharp double die example was graded at a high level and ended up selling for over $50,000 at auction. And that's just scratching the surface. Imagine finding one with a rare mule error, where mismatched dies were used. Those can rocket into the six-figure range. It's coins like these that prove modern quarters aren't something to dismiss. Asterisk. Condition plays an even bigger role here. Circulated examples like the ones we see every day in pocket change won't be worth more than face value. But the coins that were set aside early, still gleaming with luster, are commanding premium prices. Grading services like PCGS and NGC have reported PR70DCAM and MS70 Roosevelt quarters, bringing in eye-watering results. We're talking auction prices pushing past $30,000 to $40,000 for flawless specimens. Add in silver-proof versions, and suddenly collectors are willing to pay beyond $100,000. And when you stack a rare error on top of a pristine condition, that's when the jaw-dropping figures appear, with some estimates placing top condition error coins near the $400,000 to $500,000 mark. Asterisk. The 2016 Roosevelt quarter also has something unique going for it. Because it's relatively modern, it's still possible to find examples tucked away in change, rolls, or even in proof sets collectors bought and forgot about. That means the potential for discovery is real. Someone could still pull one of these from circulation without realizing they're holding what could be the most valuable coin in their collection. And that thrill, the possibility that the very next quarter you find could be life-changing, is what keeps collectors searching. Asterisk. This coin also speaks to older collectors, especially those who grew up learning about Roosevelt's legacy. For them, it's not just about the money, but about owning a piece of history that connects directly to one of America's most adventurous leaders. And that blend of history, artistry, and rarity is what gives the Theodore Roosevelt quarter its powerful appeal. Asterisk. So, as we wrap up this incredible journey through rare and valuable state and America the Beautiful quarters, the 2016 Theodore Roosevelt quarter is a fitting finale. In top condition or with a rare error, it's a coin that could easily be worth well over $500,000, from a simple pocket change find to a life-changing discovery. This quarter reminds us all to check every coin carefully, because treasures like these are still out there, waiting to be found.